responding to a change is difficult. It takes forever, and that's where Agile comes into. So if you don't have this type of methodology, how do you think that companies like, Apple or Samsung can play this race?
Today, I'm excited to welcome Samuel Parra to the show. Now, Samuel and I first interacted over LinkedIn, I believe, and had some nice communication before the podcast on his interest in the Agile movement. Now, as you'll hear, Samuel is a lean and kind of continuous improvement traditional guy, manufacturing and this and that. And he eventually got introduced to Agile, and now he's been really interested in what we lean practitioners can learn from Agile and what Agile practitioners can learn from Lean, and where the two intersect with what Samuel and many in the world are talking about these days, which is Industry 4.0, which kind of the digitization of manufacturing, so-called smart factories and things like that. So really interesting podcast. It was a little bit longer than normal. I looked up and we were at like 45 minutes, but Samuel's got a ton of energy, a lot of passion, and he was really fun to chat with. I think you're going to enjoy the show. So show notes, which will have links to everything Samuel and I talk about, can be found over at gembapodcast.com. And this is going to be episode 280. Again, gembapodcast.com. Look for episode 280. Finally, if you want to get a sneak peek at everything Gemba Academy has to offer, head over to gembaacademy.com, scroll to the bottom, and there's a button that'll allow you to sign up for a free trial. And there's no strings attached. We're not going to overwhelm you with spam or anything like that. So just go and check us out. And if you have any questions, reach out to us, and we'd love to help you on your continuous improvement journey. To do that, just go to our normal website, which is gembacademy.com. Okay, enough from me. Let's get to the show. Samuel, welcome to the show. How's it going?
It's going good. All
right. So, hey, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Macon, Georgia.
Macon, Georgia. All right. It's a beautiful part of the country. So nice and hot and sticky for you right now.
Shiny and humid.
Exactly. All right. Well, hey, Samuel, I'm excited to have you on. We were chatting a little bit before the record button. I think this topic is interesting for a lot of folks, and I think it's going to become even more interesting in the coming years here as the world turns, as they say, right? So, as you know, Samuel, we like to kind of begin our shows with our guests sharing a quote. Do you have one?
Yes, I do. And actually, I don't know who said this. I mean, who invented this quote, but I remember I used to have a manager back in my early days and as an engineer, and he used to say this in Spanish, right? So I kind of translated, and then I found that the quote actually exists in English. So something about this. So it's not what you know, it is what you do with what you know. So I'm going to explain a little bit. So in this era of digitalization and data analysis and all of that, you find people that manage a lot of tools, that manage a lot of data, right? And can show this data so impressive. But what are you doing with that? Right? What's the value that you're adding to the organization with that? Mm-hmm. So sometimes I approach folks that are new, they're coming with all this technology and all that, and hey, I can do this, and that. And why are you not showing this to the management? Why are you not doing something else with this? Mm-hmm. So for me, it's not what you know, it's what you do, what you know.
I like it. All right. Well, Samuel, so today we're going to kind of talk about, I think we're going to call this show Combining Lean and Agile in the New Industry 4.0 or something like that. I think that sounds pretty good. That was your recommendation, so thank you for that. Before we jump right into that topic, Lean, Agile, Industry 4.0 and all that, let's level set a little bit. Tell everybody about who Samuel is. Tell us about your background, how you first got introduced to continuous improvement, and then tell us what you're up to these days.
Yeah, so I started my career back in Venezuela. I'm from Venezuela. So I started with Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company back in my country. And I started as my bachelor's in electrical engineering. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I started an internship there as an electrical engineer in the facilities department. And then it came up an opening, and it was for a quality engineer position. And this is a kind of funny story because I was just graduating from electrical engineering. I was excited about, telecommunications, automation, programming, and all that. And then when I had an interview, my manager at the time said, "You know that you're not going to apply anything of what you know in this job, right?" And I was like, "What?" Yeah, because this is quality, tire quality, you know? So I was like, well, so you take it, take it or leave it. So leave it or take it. So I was like, well, I'll take it,
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I started my career, as a quality engineer, production engineer, and always related with, Lean, Six Sigma, because in the automotive industry, everybody knows that
Yeah.
it's embedded there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
even though I wasn't a practitioner, I had to do things like, total quality management, ISO and all those type of things from
Yeah.
from the very basic level.
Mm-hmm.
So that, right?
Exactly.
So I spent almost 8 years there. And at the end of my tenure there, I was the senior industrial engineer, and it's when I started doing and getting into this, doing Kaizen events, 5S's. I used to manage the OPEX portfolio, savings, and all that. So my boss at the time helped me out to understand all these tools that I kind of was aware of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I was now the practitioner of that.
Mm.
And then after that, I did a master's degree in system engineering in Illinois, and I had great time there with a couple of professors. I helped them to develop a green belt program
Mm-hmm.
for the university, and
Mm-hmm.
I got the certification towards them
Mm-hmm.
because they wanted someone to kind of help them to do all the programming of develop the program about this. And
Mm-hmm.
had the chance to work as a co-op in Caterpillar
Mm.
back there in Illinois. Yeah, they have a very good
Oh
program,
yeah,
email black belt program.
definitely.
And at the time, I spent good time there in the one of the manufacturing facilities there in Illinois. And finally, right now, I am the quality and continuous improvement manager at BASF, the largest chemical company in the world,
Mm-hmm.
uh, here in Macon, Georgia.
Nice. Now you didn't get in any trouble down in Chicago or anything like that, did you, on Saturday night or anything like that?
No, I tried to stay away. Even though I used to live in the city, I tried to stay away.
Yeah, it was funny when you were talking about how in your first job there, you were. You weren't kind of like, I guess, formally trained, if you will, in continuous improvement, but just how you did your job. And this is exactly my experience. I actually worked at Motorola right out of school, and I didn't, Motorola Six Sigma, right, and all this, but I
Yeah.
never went through at that time their formal Six Sigma training. But it was like I was just a young, naive engineer, and we're running around, SPC, design of experiments, all this kind of stuff, and I just thought this is how everybody works, and this is just normal, and then I got another job at another place after that, and I realized, oh yeah, this is not how everybody works. And so that's a good experience, right? When if you're lucky enough, to land in a company who's really practices these things. So.
And at the end is because I coming from the automotive industry, I spent almost 10 years at Goodyear. Then I did this co-op in Caterpillar. Then I work as a consultant in a automotive company called Agile Industries in Illinois. So they all have kind of the same culture. So that is already embedded to you. So wherever you move, you kind of see the same things, right? And
Mm-hmm.
same needs, because the lean and the Six Sigma comes with you because kind of born in this company,
Yeah.
automotive industry, aerospace industry. So it's kind of
Exactly.
cool.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Well, let's jump right in. So, we're going to explore just a really cool topic, lean, how it intersects with agile. and how that intersects, how both of them intersect with what we are going to call Industry 4.0, which isn't a new term, I guess. It's been around for a while. But what I want to do is not assume anything. I don't want to jump into just like everybody knows what. Well, I guess most of the listeners here understand what lean is, so we probably don't need to go into that. But let's talk a little bit about just kind of definitions and just high level. What are we talking about when we talk about Agile and then Industry 4.0? Let's take them both separately. So let's start with Agile. What's your elevator pitch for Agile? And we'll get into how you discovered it, but just right now, just so people know what we're talking about, what is it?
So Agile is a methodology, right? It's a methodology for the software industry that was born in the software industry that helps you to develop projects, right? To manage projects, complex projects, and with a set of tools already, right? And that it makes these tools to get faster to the customer. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they have 4 values and 12 principles that they were developed by a group of software engineers in the 90s, right? And it's what we know today as the Agile methodology, right? But long story short, it's just a set of methodologies that helps to manage a project.
And I think it's safe to say, maybe the Agile guys don't want to hear this, but I think it's safe to say Lean had a very strong influence on these folks. Is that true?
It does, yeah. And that is why I'm so interested in this topic, because even though there are already authors and books out there that are combining both, and they call it Leagile. I prefer to call it Leagile with N because it sounds better.
Yeah.
But there's already some textbooks out there and some material. But I think that for us as a Lean practitioners, it's not still in our radar. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And my intention with this was to study why is it not in our radar? How can I apply this in my environment, and how cool it is, because actually it makes you being agile, which is what we need sometimes.
Yeah, no, for sure. So what about this Industry 4.0? What's this all about?
Well, this is a new buzzword, I will call it, where it's all about digitalization, data analysis, AI, and software and all combined, Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so many things, like machine learning, and there are some companies that want to combine all that in new softwares for the industry and new opportunities for the manufacturing industry, for any other industry. So we need to be careful with this because, this is coming, is here, right? Mm-hmm. It was supposed to help everybody, automatization, the cloud and all of that. So all these terms are embedded in this industry 4.0. Mm-hmm. But we need to be careful. It depends on what industry are you working to, and what are you getting out of this, right?
Yeah.
For example, some people want to put, tablets for everybody, to do your work safe permits there and things like that. So are they really able to do that? So that's what kind of Industry 4.0 means, mm-hmm. is the digitalization of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you, I actually pulled it up on Wikipedia because, at Wikipedia knows everything, right? And but they got an interesting definition. Oh, there's a lot here. I won't read it all, but Industry 4.0 refers to the concept of factories in which machines are augmented with wireless connectivity and sensors connected to a system that can visualize the entire production line, control, and make decisions on its own. Oh, okay. Right. So, yeah, intelligent manufacturing, right? Or smart manufacturing is another word, I think, or smart factory, some people are calling it.
Yeah. So it is a lot, and we need to be careful to be on the way, the new wave, but also understanding what do you actually need.
Yeah, because exactly.
You can see manufacturing facilities that they don't even have money to get or to reach their production capacity, but they wanted to start this digitalization program. Well, wait a minute.
Well,
How are you going to do that?
I just talked to a guy recently, I think on the podcast. I don't know. I talk to so many people. Sometimes it all runs together, but, talking about, automate this and that and digitize this and that. But in a way, it was kind of like, yeah, but you got a lot of waste. Let's get rid of that waste before you automate the waste, right? There's no sense in automating waste. This is pointless. And yeah.
You're correct. If your basics are not covered,
Yep.
your lean, your mission, visions, and goals of the company or that site, your structure, your management system, you're gonna put this, and it will be a nightmare to manage all these.
Yep.
And we're forgetting something more important, which is the adaptation of your workforce to all this. So whoever has been in manufacturing knows that every time you put a new software, an SPC software, or a new quality software, or whatever, it takes time, right? New PLC or something like that. So don't forget about that, right? It's something that is here, but we need to be careful.
Yeah, we and the guy were joking. I was like, in 20 years, what's going to happen is people are going to be like, you know what is amazing? If you take a person, and you just have them stand right there and then just have them watch, they can find all these areas, all these opportunities for improvement. And some people, no, a person to stand there and watch? Yeah. I was like, it's kind of how bell bottoms come back in style, or whatever it is, it's like maybe 20 years from now, people will come back in style and our brains and whatnot and realize that our computers in our head are pretty powerful as well. So
they are, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be helpful, and I'm doing a little bit of that. I'm trying to digitalize some of the things that I have in my company now, but but my point is, don't get stressed about this. It will come. We'll adapt it. But just wait for the right tool for the right solution.
Yep, exactly. Kind of back to your quote at the beginning, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that quote, man. I really love it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's go back into Agile a little bit. So, how did you first discover it? Like, what would you book or conference or what? What's your origin story with Agile?
Well, it's kind of funny because I've been hearing this buzzword for a couple of years now. Agile, and I wasn't paying attention. And because it's not kind of adopted in the manufacturing community. I am in different pages, forums, and communities, and you don't see that much. You see it a little bit, but not as much. So a couple of months ago, I started to investigate a little bit, just because I like to read and things like that. So I found that this Agile methodology is actually embedded with Lean. And I was like, wait a minute, if this is related with Lean, I want to know everything about it, right? And at the same time, I started a online certification from Cornell University about the project management. I wanted to refresh my concepts there. And they were actually teaching about Agile. I was like, wait a minute, okay, this is the thing. Right. So when I went over that, I found that, they even use Kanban. They even use seven type of ways. So, okay, there's a lot of similarities on this, and I want to know everything about it. And then the CEO of my company is starting a new strategy for the company, all of that. So he's repeating a lot this Agile word. So I was like, okay, this is here. This is now, and I want to know everything about it. So I've been reading a lot about it. I've been applying a lot about this, and I'm kind of in the journey now to kind of push this out to the world and to the people that I know and say, hey, this is cool, and we can embed this with whatever we know about Lean and Six Sigma to evolve. And we were talking about this at the beginning because Lean and Six Sigma, they're great tools. Everybody knows about that. Is the standard, but like anything else, why not evolve?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm behind with.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about Agile and as far as values, principles. We talk about a lot of the values and principles of Lean, respect for people, continuous improvement, that sort of thing. Talk about the values and principles of Agile.
Yeah, that's very interesting because you know that I use a methodology, right, that will help you to solve your problems a little bit faster and manage projects a little bit faster, right? So they come out with four values, and I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna read it and say it and explain a little bit what that means for us, the
Hmm.
lean and the practitioners, right? Like,
Hmm.
so the first value is individuals and interactions over processes and tools, and this is powerful, because for lean practitioners, we know that we can have a very, very good set of tools, 5S, Gamba, Kanban, all that. And we're always looking ways to apply this in different environments, right? It's not just to have the tools, it's how do you actually make this happen, right? But however, we forget a key element here, which is the individuals and the interactions, right?
Hmm.
So sometimes we come with our tools and we don't know how to get that into the people. So that is why you now are looking into, people that you just not need Lean Six Sigma now. You need to be a change agent,
Hmm.
change management. Because yeah, you can have all that, but you're not maybe a good people person. You don't know how to, deploy this in
Hmm.
the shop floor.
Hmm.
So this is powerful for me because it's individuals and interactions over process and tool.
Hmm.
So that's what it means for me.
Okay.
So that's the kind of first value of it, and it's very powerful. So the second one, and this is it says working software over comprehensive documentation. And when you said software, you can put whatever you want. Working project, working product, working processes. I mean, whatever. The value is the same. So working product, let's say, over comprehensive documentation. That doesn't mean that the documentation is not important, but sometimes engineers like me in the automotive industry are more focused on documentation than over the processes to be robust, right?
Mm.
Especially people in the automotive industry with PPAPs and all these AP, QP,
Hmm. Hmm.
processes that you need to develop. So that's a lot of documentation, right? To take a product out of the door, but is that product actually working? Are you
Yeah.
gonna have a recall about that, right? So what has more value? So I'm not saying that you don't need to do the documentation and it's not important though, right?
Hmm.
But focus more in what you're doing, your
Hmm.
product, be a robust product before going out of the door.
Well, even just at a basic lean perspective, we talk a lot about standard work within the community, and so it's like, well, you got to figure out, like, look at TWI and job instruction, things like that. You got to figure out the one best way, and then you document it, right? You don't document the one best way and then figure it out, right? Because you don't know, right? You got to figure it out. So, but
It,
standards are meant to be improved, right? And so when you do figure out 3 months later, oh, this isn't actually the best way anymore. This is a better way. Okay, well, let's change the documentation then. But yeah, cart
you're
before
right.
the horse.
And sometimes we even sit down in our desk to do these papers and documentation, and when we put it out there, nobody understands that
Mm,
because you are the one creating this. You know how it's supposed to work, but it actually doesn't work. So we go back again to the first value, which is people and interactions,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
How they're going to read this. So I always take a look into the people perspective of this.
Hmm.
So the third value is customer collaboration over contract negotiation, right?
Mm.
And I like this one because you can apply this to your internal customers and to your external customers. So let's give it an example. So um, you need to be close to your customers, customer collaboration. So when you work in quality, you see that you have internal customers and external customer, right? So you need to understand your internal customer. In my case right now, for example, I work in one of the plants that is the raw material for some other plants, right? So I need to understand then how my product actually affect them. It's not about, hey, I'm in a spec and that's it. Or hey, I did my thing and that's it. No, if I'm doing wrong, how that is going to affect you, right? And same thing with external customers. So sometimes we focus on the negotiation. So how much money are we going to make? But where's the profit? Where's the legal relationship that we're going to have over the collaboration? You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
okay, what is the value of the product that you are delivering? You know, so this is very important for me as well, and I apply that every day in my job. And more importantly, I tell my people, hey guys, we need to understand our customer. Yeah, they complain, but let's understand our internal customers, right? See what they want and how do I affect them.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
And the four value is responding to change or following a plan. And I think this is where agile comes together, because we need to move fast these days. Okay, so in the past, all these big companies, with all these many layers, it's difficult to move, and still, it's difficult to move in some industries and companies because of this. Got so many approvals, so many people that responding to a change is difficult, takes forever.
Hmm.
And that's where IEL comes into. So if you don't have this type of methodology, how do you think that companies like, Apple or Samsung can play this race,
Hmm.
where every 6 to a year, every 6 to 12 months, they're launching a new product, right?
Hmm.
So you need to be agile to do that. So responding to change has to be more important than following that plan, right? So I'm not saying that you're not going to follow a plan, but if in the middle somebody, your customer, because you're collaborating with that customer, comes say, hey, I think we need to do it this way. Okay, let's do it. Don't hold it, don't push
Yeah.
back. We used to push back a lot in manufacturing,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Yeah, Samuel. Even when you think about, we talk a lot within the lean community about making a plan, and so if you're looking at that kind of PDCA or whatever plan, do you check it? Like we make this plan at the bottom of the totem pole, if you will. It's just the maximum point of uncertainty, right? Like we have no idea how to get to this big goal that we have way out in the future. So, but traditional, even you mentioned project management, and this is the flaw, in my opinion, of traditional project management is you create this big Gantt chart, but you don't even really know the things you're going to have to do 4 months from now, right? So why even waste any energy on that? So it's like, well, where can we be in a month or in a couple weeks or whatever it is? And then you start iterating towards that, and I think this is very similar to what you're talking about.
And now that you mentioned that, and that's great. I mean, I think you need to have a basic plan, and that comes another framework of Agile, which is Scrum.
Mm,
This and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but it's about that. It's kind actually adapt uh, to the changes while you're doing this,
yeah. Hmm.
and we don't have that, So sometimes we develop something to make or something, and once you pass the defined phase, you don't want to go back.
Yeah.
I already defined that, right?
Yeah.
But it might be wrong.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that. This is why we have a hard time with when our Six Sigma, content sometimes, because we don't teach it. DMAIC is not linear. I'm sorry if you're a XYZ black belt or whatever, and you think that, oh, I just passed M and I can't go back. It's nonsense, so it's not linear. When you realize your measurement system's disaster, guess what? You're defined. You got to do it over because you don't even know what the problem is.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And the key of all these projects is like I learned one time ago is the definition of the problem.
Yeah.
If
Hmm.
that is not right,
Yep.
nothing will be right.
Yeah.
So after those four values, they come with 12 principles, and I'm not gonna go over all that. So I'm just gonna highlight the ones that I think are more impactful for me.
Hmm.
And one of these principles is welcome changing requirements, even in late development. And that comes back again what we're talking, right? Welcome changing requirements. Sometimes you're developing a project and the sponsor or stakeholder comes say, hey, we need to change that because we don't have money for that, right? What are we gonna do? Well, we'll decide to make it with less money then, but still we need to find a solution.
Hmm.
So I'm not a friend of pushback. I don't push back. I try to find the best way, until I understand, well, there's no best way. Okay, it's time to push back.
Hmm.
So welcome changing requirements. I love that one. Close daily cooperation between businesses, peoples, and developers, and this is important. If you're working with people, you need to be close to them, have daily cooperation. There are so many softwares to help you to do that. You got Microsoft Teams, you got SharePoint, you got all these tools that can help you to cooperate with people. um, And this one is powerful, Ron. Projects are built around motivated individuals who
Mm.
should be trusted.
Mm.
We need, man, we need to trust more people. All
Mhm.
right. You know, if they want to make a mistake, right? You will learn from that mistake and stop the approval, stop. I mean, because that's not being agile, right? So, hey, trust in your people, motivate your people, let them do it, let them fail, and keep going.
And that's so hard. That's so hard. You know, I mean, I myself as a business owner, right? It's like we trust our people. We have amazing people here at Gambler Academy, but still, there's times where we're like, oh, what about this? What about that? And and you worry, right? It's natural, right? Especially if you're the owner of a company or something. It ultimately, it's your company, and you have to make sure it's successful. So it's super super hard to trust, even though you do trust, but it's tough.
Right, and I get that, but you need to have some level of leverage for these
Yeah.
people. Some leeway, and it's not that you're gonna give them your checkbook and start
Hmm.
signing checks to everybody, but
Hmm. Hmm.
hey, you start to give them some little pieces of responsibility and see,
Yeah.
hey, if you fail, let's sit down, talk about it. It's because you don't know.
Yep.
It's because I didn't tell you, and sometimes it's the communication part, Ron. Because
Yeah.
I always put this example. I mean, sometimes communication is key, right? You might be talking with someone, and this person might not be understanding you what you're saying, or you are not, saying what you're thinking,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
and then when you come back, say, well, but you didn't tell me that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. Yeah, no, you did not. So it is a communication thing. So I think if you revisited that, you will find opportunities to improve, right? And see if this person can take that responsibility.
Yeah.
And the other principle is, and I love this one because I'm a lover of design. Continuous attention to technical excellence and good design. That's another principle. And the other one to finish this is simplicity. Let's be
Mm.
simple.
I just read this amazing article. James Clear, I don't know if you guys, James Clear wrote the book Atomic Habits. So he has this, he's on Twitter like everyone, and he had a Twitter post the other day, and he asked people to link to their favorite articles. And oh my gosh, there's hundreds of articles. And so me and my business partners were flowing through them, and I found this one, and oh, I can't even remember all the details of it, but it was talking about the various ladders of expertise. Like at the bottom is like you're smart, and then I can't remember the exact thing, but it's like then you're intelligent, or then but then at the very top, it was like you're a genius, but then there was one even above it, and it was simplicity. Simplicity was above genius, because it says like
Wow.
if you can say something in a simple manner, you're above a genius, and people can understand you. And because a lot of times geniuses talk and you can't understand them. Right? It's like, what are you
And hey, that's powerful because I'm a fan of Steve Jobs and all his you know methodology, I will say, and how simple he was. Their design, how simple and powerful their designs were.
mm-hmm.
And it's exactly what you said. They were making some simple stuff that they were so much powerful. So it's even above genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's and to get there, you need a lot.
Yeah.
You need to kind of pass all those levels that you just mentioned
Mm-hmm.
to get to that part. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's actually absolutely true what you're saying.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So that's a lot about agile, and talk a little bit about. We've already talked a little bit about how lean has influenced it, but what about which lean concepts are applied kind of directly in agile?
Right. So that's where I started to getting into this. So okay. So Agile has different development methods. So now they got so many practitioners, and these things have evolved like crazy. Now, uh, they have different frameworks, I will say. And the one important to us are, for example, they have one called Lean Software Development, right? So it's literally a translation of the Toyota production system to the software industry. So they literally took the TPS and they kind of change it or modify it to lean to the software industry, right? So with the idea of eliminating waste, waste of time, waste of resources. They even have their own definition of the seven type of waste. So it's literally TPS. They use value stream map, pull systems, and things like that. So that's kind of a framework inside of the Agile methodology. And then they have one they call Kanban, which is the same Kanban that we use, right? But in this particular case, what they do is, use a Kanban board to kind of classify and organize the huge amount of work that they have to do. So they kind of divide this Kanban board in, depending if you're in software industry, it will be like a backlog, ready, coding, testing, and approval. And so these little modules of this or parts of this big project can be moved, towards the end of the project. Some you might have a team working on coding, and other team might be already testing, right? So you need to organize that, and they're very into these Kanban boards. And I found that, it's simple, it could be a table with 3 or 4
Right.
columns,
Yeah.
but I found something powerful that I'm applying right now, because I'm not a friend of action plans. I hate action plans, but the typical, Excel
Yeah.
square action plan with item responsible,
The old
action,
Kaizen newspaper, right? Yeah.
comment.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so lame and boring. So what I'm being putting into my quality user room meetings is, this Kanban board, and I just said, okay, this is done. This is to do. The levels of I put on top the levels of criticality, low, medium, and high. And when in the column where I have high priority, I put just the actions in a box, and then I put just the action name, the responsible, and if it's done or not. Okay, simple as that. No words. Everybody knows what it needs to do, right? But it's simple, which is what I like, right?
Yeah.
So it's low, medium, high in columns, and you're starting moving this. It's kind of like affinity diagram, something like that. And you're even if you're not using sticky notes, you can use sticky notes, but I'm putting this in a presentation. So you move these boxes, okay, and you show that you did that already, or you can do it different ways, but it's a different way to show things.
Yeah.
And people like that, being fresh, being a little more simple, be more lean.
Yeah. A tool that we use a lot here internally, again, by Academy, is Trello, Trello. There's a free version. In fact, I think we even use a free version, but we have everything, like our whole content development engine, if you will, is all in this Trello. So it's very similar to these Kanban boards of, moving it from this box to this box and who's doing what. And it really helps, when we're virtual. I know we were going to maybe talk about that a little bit, but that's a powerful way to communicate when you're not always in the same place. And even if you are in the same place, put it up on a board, so people, it just brings visibility, right, to who's doing what.
And that's exactly what they do. And then, that in the software industry, or in the industry right now, you got a team working in India, and the other team is working in Illinois. You guys are here. So how do we organize all that? How do we? So the idea is, how are we more agile and eliminate the waste of emails, waste of calls, waste of conferences? That's the idea of all this.
Got it. Hey, so last question. I'm going to kind of combine a couple questions that I wanted to ask you. So, talk about agile and just in manufacturing, but then also talk about, us lean practitioners that are listening to this. What can we do? What can we learn from agile? And, how can we be aware of this industry 4.0 and just kind of just moving in that direction?
Well, see, the first thing you need to know is kind of understand what agile does. And what's the difference between Agile, Lean, and Six Sigma, and understand how to combine these things together. One of the things that I like from Agile is a framework called Scrum. You will see this term a lot in the industry. Scrum Master. So what Scrum is part of the framework that helps you to break down pieces of work in a short period of time, right? So let's say, hey, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this in 2 weeks, right? and you got people, developing that or working on that, and it's very similar to a Kaizen event
Hmm.
and people who works in the Kaizen event. However, they have a figure that's what I wanted to tell people that are listening, um, that we need to get this more into our daily work life is the Scrum Master. So what the Scrum Master does is to facilitate to people in the team, um, the tools and whatever they need, and remove the impediments and constraints that they have. So you have a team, working on that. It's not just the manager, because so in the Scrum methodology, you got the product owner, which is kind of like the leader of the team, and you got the team itself, and then you have this Scrum Master, which is someone that helps you to get the constraints out of the way. And we need that more in manufacturing. And that's why they make this methodology agile and get to the next level. So
Hmm.
I'll give you an example in manufacturing, right? So you got the production and the quality guys. So, yeah, let's put it production and maintenance, right? You got all these guys fighting all the time, not getting things done, and we usually we don't have someone in the middle to understand these two teams, right? Someone that can take the roadblocks out of the way and say, hey guys, no, this is the way to do it. I already reviewed this. Let's do it. Sometimes in the manufacturing industry, we put CI practitioners to do all that, but they don't have the authority to tell them, hey, no, you're wrong. This is the way to do it. This is the way to go, or hey, you're not wrong. The problem that we have is money. I mean, we need this, so escalate that. So that person to take the constraints out of the way for the teams. That's what we need more in manufacturing. That's what we're applying. We got right now a product manager that is working with the two plants, and he's kind of doing that. Taking the constraints out of the way and getting us into the next level.
Mm.
So that's what we need into manufacturing.
Got it. Samuel, if folks want to learn more about Agile, Gemba Academy, we do have some content on it, and we're going to be developing more in the next year or so. But what's the best book in your opinion, or maybe there's a few books or some other resources that might be good for folks to learn about Agile?
I haven't found a reference book about Agile. I mean, and Lean with Agile together. There is a lot of um, content in the web. There is a lot. Again, I'm still trying to look who's the best, I will say. Uh, but so far, I don't have an author that I can, guide you guys. Hey, this is the best one. Because what I'm behind is to try to pull together my own concepts, of
Hmm.
what I know, of what I can use, because I'm a lean practitioner, right? And I get the Six Sigma methodology, and I'm not gonna forget about this.
Yeah.
I just want to get the best out of both worlds, because if you get into agile, it's another world as well, right? So take it little by little, by pieces. I will say, understand what's the methodology, and try to see how you can embed that into what you know already.
Yeah. I know. Ever heard of Tom and Mary Poppendick? Have you ever heard of those folks?
No,
Yeah, so
no.
they actually did a podcast with them back at episode 190. Gosh, it was in 2017, and they're really committed to software development, and lean, and you're definitely tapping into the agile community as well. That might be someone to put. I think they've written some books, but yeah, folks can go back if they're interested to go back to episode 190 and check that out. But yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity, obviously, to continue building on this body of knowledge and seeing what we can all learn from it.
Yeah, there are many many books. To be honest, I mean there are many many books, and I will say that there is the same amount that you can find in Lean and Six Sigma.
Yeah.
I just haven't found like the key ones, like we have for sort of, TPS or things
Yeah.
like that,
Well, you
key
need to write
people.
one, Samuel. Come on.
Hey, I'm on it. To be honest, I'm on it. I'm putting a paper out there because I'm very interested on this because it's not new. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We're not discovering the hot water here, but it's not being developed.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know,
Well, it's pretty. It's maybe more niche than lean. Lean is really applicable anywhere, and so maybe people feel like Agile's only for software developers, which I don't think is exactly true. So yeah,
I think we are with Agile in the moment where the healthcare industry discovered that we can use Lean and Six Sigma as well.
Exactly. Yep.
So I think we are in that moment with Agile, but going back to either manufacturing, healthcare, or whatever any other industry you want to say.
Yeah, beautiful. Samuel, what's the best way for folks to connect with you?
Hey, go to my LinkedIn. My name Samuel Parra. My email, if you want to know a little bit more about this, my email is samuelparra06@gmail.com. You want to get part of my paper on my research on this, I can send you some of that. I'm all for getting this out there and hear about people and how they doing and how we can have our own community about this.
Yeah, I'll spell your name in case folks are only listening, and we'll have this in the show notes as well. But it's Samuel, SAMUEL, and then Parra is PARRA. And so his email is samuelparra06@gmail.com. And I guess LinkedIn, Twitter. Now, to be honest, you on Snapchat? Come on, don't lie to me. Come on, you on Snapchat?
No, I'm on Instagram.
I'm just waiting for someone to say they're on Snapchat. So it's like, because I'm embarrassed. I don't even know how to use it. My kids are on it. And I was like, I should be on it, monitoring them. But
No, I got it. I downloaded it, because of all these apps to change faces and all that. But my kids are playing with that.
Right.
I'm more into the Instagram, but still, I'm kind of caught in social media.
Yeah.
It's too much.
I got you. All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on, Samuel. It's been great. Hopefully we can connect in person. You ever get out to any conferences or anything?
I'm planning to go. I'm kind of deciding which one I'm gonna go. I'm with the ISQ, American Society of Quality. They get good conferences. Mm-hmm. I've been hearing some of the ones that you promote as well. So I'm kind of like
Yeah, AME, Katacon, all these ones you can't go wrong, and they're all great. Yeah.
Can't go wrong with.
Good. All right, well, thanks a lot, Samuel. It was great chatting with you, and let's stay in touch, and we'll see where this lean Agile Industry 4.0 movement takes us in the next few years.
All right, thank you for your opportunity.
All right, take care. Bye bye. Thanks for listening to the Gemba Academy podcast. Now, we invite you to take a no-strings-attached, fully functional test drive of GembaAcademy.com. Gain immediate access to more than 1,000 Lean and Six Sigma learning resources, all free of charge, at GembaAcademy.com.